Hello YouTube! Scott here with another instant review, and this one is near and dear to my heart. Are you like me? Are you of a certain age and happen to remember a Canadian sketch comedy show called The Kids in the Hall? It originally ran on Canadian television from 1989 to 1995, and then in syndication on Comedy Central. In a way, it did kind of help make the channel. So, anyway, if you are like me, and that show shaped your sense of humor the way it did mine, then you were probably as happy as I was to learn a while back that The Kids in the Hall would be returning with brand new episodes. And I bet you were even happier to recently find out that those episodes had been made and they were up on Amazon Prime. So, as you may have guessed, since this is a review, I went and watched all 8 of them. So, what do I have to say? It's pretty great. I mean, I'm not going to lie. You know, sometimes with reboots you get the problem of how things aren't true to the original, or it went off in a direction that doesn't make any sense. I don't get that from this. I really don't. So, you know, some of the sketches were hilarious. Some of them were weird. Some of them I honestly did not understand what was supposed to make them funny. And you know what? That's exactly the same as the original run. You know, say what you will about how long it's been, the kids, who, let's face it, could not really be considered kids anymore, have still got it. They still work together amazingly as a comedy troupe. You know, you get some returning of some of their classic characters. There's the fictional company A.T. and Love. The secretaries, I guess, Kathy and Kathy. The boss of A.T. and Love, got just big, huge guy, and his sort of right-hand man, Danny Husk. There are, quite honestly, kind of like the 2 worst cops in Canada. 2 of the big departures, there was no laugh track, because obviously this time it wasn't filmed in front of a live audience. And there was more nudity. I've now seen more of the Kids in the Hall naked than I ever wanted to. I gotta be honest. Yeah. But, you know, if that's where they want to go with it, I'm here for it, because, honestly, these episodes were pretty awesome. I do have to say one thing, though, as far as, you know, returning goes. Guys, how do you not bring back Simon and Hecubis? I'm not going to go into detail of explaining them. If you know, you know. And if you know, I assume you're as upset as I am. I mean, you literally brought back the crushing your head guy. If you've ever been out and about and you've seen somebody holding their fingers up like this going, I'm crushing your head, I'm crushing your head, that's where that's from. Honestly, I heard my stepdad do that once, and I wasn't even aware he watched Kids in the Hall. That being said, you know, they still took time to poke fun at themselves. I remember this sketch from back in the original run. It had this voiceover where it was talking about, don't say the kids in the hall have lost their edge. Say, the kids in the hall have lost their edge, but for a great deal of money, and that's okay. And you see that adapted for more modern times now, when one of their older recurring characters, who was an executive at some business, was talking about how they were brought back this time, but instead of the CBC, they were working on Amazon, and that's how they were getting their money. And of course you get the self-aware stuff where, like, the very last sketch of the last episode involved just the kids basically playing themselves, except Mark was playing some sort of intense character, talking about, you know, how they were going to write sketches that were funny nowadays. You know, there's always been, like, the self-awareness mixed in with the whole thing, and I just can't say enough good things about this show, guys. I mean, honestly, I kind of wish I had scripted this. I feel like being unplanned like this, it's a little rambly, and I don't care. You know, like I said, they didn't bring back all the great stuff. You know, there's no 30 Helens Agree, no Chicken Lady. I'm sure I will think, as I think about it, there'll be more stuff that I remember. It's like, oh wait, they didn't do that. But I'm mostly concerned about Simon and Hecubis. And again, if you know, you know. One interesting feature, one thing that they brought back, or not that they brought back, it's new, was called Friends of Kids in the Hall, number so-and-so. And it was a celebrity cameo. Now, given the fact that Lorne Michaels was behind both Kids in the Hall and Saturday Night Live, it shouldn't come as much surprise that roughly half of those cameos were SNL alums. But then, you also get the other ones. Catherine O'Hara was there, Tracy Ellis Ross from Blackish. I'm going to go ahead and assume that Mark Hamill is actually a fan of Kids in the Hall, because he's obviously not the kind of guy who's just going to do something for a paycheck, right? And he's brilliant in it, as he is pretty much everything. Even Sam B got in on the fun. I really wish I had a satisfying conclusion to this, but the best I can come up with, since, let's face it, I am winging this, bring on Season 2. Hell, bring on 6 more seasons. 6 seasons. 6 more seasons of Kids in the Hall to add to their legacy. Because seriously, it's like they picked up right where they left off, even though there's a good nearly 30 years in between. And you don't even have to say 6 seasons in a movie like Community, because they already did one. It wasn't that great. But to be fair, that was a plot point in the sort of resurrection of the series. I was going to spoil that, but forget it. I'm like I said, I'm rambling. I'm just going to end it here, okay? Kids in the Hall. If you don't know what it is and you have Amazon, you need to go watch it. If you like sketch comedy, you will love it. If you like extremely offbeat sketch comedy, you will love it. And again, if you're like me and it hit you right in the nostalgia feels and turned out to be exactly what you would have wanted when it came back, well, obviously you're going to love it. And we'll see what happens the next time I decide to review something. Maybe I'll even write a script. But until then, I've been Scott, and this has been an instant review, an offshoot of opinions no one cares about. Everyone has opinions. This one was mine.